Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another fourth stimulus check unemployment benefits extension update. So President Joe Biden, right now, as that we're speaking this, if you are watching this on release date, is essentially right now speaking with GOP Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who, if you're not familiar with who she is, I think everyone knows who Biden is, but if you're not familiar with who she is, she's essentially one of the leading Republicans that's in charge of a lot of the fourth infrastructure plan and stimulus bills that's being talked about right now as we are speaking. Now, even if you are watching this into the future, the big thing is that we do have a lot of updates to share, which I really want to cover in today, all about what's been going on with the fourth stimulus bill. Because the story right now, essentially what's going on is that most of you guys know is that Biden essentially decided to take his fourth stimulus, or just essentially all of his plans in total, and he's splitting it up into all sorts of different parts right now. That's why you might have heard about all sorts of different proposals, such as Biden's Build Back Better plan, infrastructure bill, American Families Plan, jobs plan. And you might be wondering, what's the difference between all of these? Essentially, they all just represent all sorts of different parts of what he's hoping to do as the president of the United States in order to basically improve or just bring the country to the next. And also, again, as mentioned, to build back better after all of the stuff that pretty much happened last year and recovering it from it all. But essentially right now is that there are essentially, I guess you can say, three different talks that's going on right now. And essentially the first one has to do with the infrastructure bill, which we're going to definitely talk about today. So stay tuned for that. They're also talking about a lot of the fourth stimulus programs. So not necessarily the fourth stimulus checks, but a lot of the other programs that I think at the end of the day is meant to put money in people's pockets, and I think that's what people care about. So examples would be like the child tax credit, money to support different businesses and programs, and then of course the final thing that they're talking about is the fourth stimulus check. And you can even say there's kind of like a fourth thing that's being talked about, but it essentially has to do with like fourth state stimulus programs, which we've already made a couple videos about. For example, there was a video I put out that was called $2,000 checks approved, which I'll put at the very end screen. The idea is that there are several states right now that are trying to create their own stimulus plan. Some that's supposed to be going out to just universally as many people as can be in that state, and others that are really just meant to go to like people in specific cases. In that video, it talks a lot more about certain states that are trying to do stimulus checks to go out to people to go back to work for anyone that happens to be unemployed, which I know is a lot of people out there right now. So definitely check that if you guys haven't, and I'll put it at the very end screen for that. But essentially, I guess you can say there are now four things or four talks about four topics that are going on about the fourth bill, or all of the different versions of the fourth bill. May the fourth be with you. So I pretty much just want to cover all of that stuff today with regards to like the fourth stimulus bill, stimulus program, stimulus package, stimulus checks. So we're going to get started right in a bit, but maybe real fast before we begin, as always, remember to smash the like button because it's always greatly appreciated. Consider subscribing. Always happy to have new people. And also a huge thank you if you guys have been here for a while. It's always greatly appreciated. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts, especially any personal thoughts about like the fourth stimulus negotiations, because I'm sure there's a lot of them. And with that being said, let's get this video started. So the story right now is that as we are speaking is that the Senate is currently on vacation for Memorial Day. I think most of us know that, a lot of us pretty much got 3-day vacations, or maybe if we were unemployed, it's felt like not necessarily a vacation, but it's just all the days have felt just very similar in general. But the Senate essentially are now taking a 1-week Memorial Day vacation. So they are off for basically the rest of this week until next week. Now, one thing that did happen is that they did leave details about a new proposal that they just released right before they went on vacation, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I believe the House also did technically go briefly on vacation. They did come back, so their vacation was a lot shorter. I believe they are now back. However, they are busy and working on a lot of other stuff, so it's probably going to be a little bit quiet there. However, there's definitely a lot of talks that we're going to cover. But the idea right now is that right before they left on vacation, the Senate ended up releasing their own brand new proposal that's now priced, I believe, at about $928 billion. All you have to really know about this proposal right now is that essentially inside of that proposal is a whole bunch of different funds for all sorts of different programs related to infrastructure, essentially things related to just improving the country on a much more, I guess you can say larger, much more larger, as the name suggests, infrastructure scale. So the big thing to note is that inside of this bill, sadly, there are actually no stimulus proposals or just programs in general. So whether we're talking about like the child tax cut, community college, SNAP EBT benefits, checks, unemployment, anything like that, is that inside of their plan there's nothing related to stimulus programs. However, the great news is that the Democrats, or Biden and the Democrats, do have their own bill, and that one does involve a lot of other kinds of stimulus programs. So when it comes to the Democrats' bill right now, is that they essentially have a $1.7 trillion infrastructure plan, and that one has all of the different programs that they're looking to do. They also do have another plan, I believe, which is the American Families Plan, but the idea is that if you were to look at all of the plans that they have in total, the big thing on their agenda beyond the infrastructure that we talked about is that they're essentially right now hoping to continue to try to push for the child tax credit, which is essentially going to give anyone that has a family or that has a child per child a $3,000 to $3,600 stimulus check gradually paid out for over the next several years, if it's able to approve and go through, per child to every single family. So it's probably a reasonable time to have kids, or maybe if you already do have kids by any chance. But the big thing is that they do also have a lot of other programs like free community college. I believe there's increase for SNAP benefits. So if you guys happen to be on food stamps, highly recommended that if you guys need it right now to try to get onto food stamps, because I definitely think that it could help a lot, especially with a lot of the bonus and boost that they're currently doing right now. I do believe they are trying to do something to create like family leave. So if you have to, for example, leave your job briefly in order to take care of your family, they are hoping to do that. And then essentially a lot of funding to support different industries that, while they are not necessarily stimulus checks, they still at the end of the day they stimulate the country. But the big thing is that if they're able to add funding, it's also very likely that many of us may potentially see a pay raise or just some kind of increase in our salary, which in a way, does work kind of as a stimulus program, in that it puts money or puts extra money inside of our pockets, which again is, I think at the end of the day, what most of us really care about. Now, when it comes to specifically the fourth stimulus check, so like the $2,000, the monthly reoccurring checks, there is definitely a push right now for the fourth stimulus checks, and it's actually growing right now. I think the story is that at this current time, we still don't have enough support to really feel confident about it, but it's definitely there and it's definitely increasing. I think the big thing though, what's believed right now, is that because there are so many different things that have been happening and so many changes, including the fact that about how unemployment is currently now ending in several states. We did make a lot of videos about that, which I'll put at the end screen. Welcome. If you guys are brand new here, consider subscribing, because I think most of you guys have seen it, but really just in case. But the idea is that because there are a lot of programs that are ending or that are being downsized right now, or that are on the verge of ending soon, or sometime in the near future, I believe is that there's definitely a push that they may be trying to preach to do fourth stimulus checks, to include it inside of the bill. But right now it's kind of just uncertain, so it's really hard to gauge about the probability. But the idea is at least it's on the table and it's possible, and I think that's the big thing to maybe know about it. But beyond that is that the petition that we talked about, which is about how there's 2 million signatures, many of you guys may have already shared that link across to your family, so huge thank you for that. I think everyone's really grateful for that, because I think right now they're actually now up to 2.2 million signatures. I think the last time we talked about this, we were up to 2 million signatures because they had just approved, or they had just crossed the 2 million path. I'll put the video that talks a little bit about this, just so that every single time I say the word 2 million, we are now at 2.2 million, which is a really great thing to look forward to. But beyond that, that's pretty much what I really just wanted to cover, because it's been a while since we've talked about the fourth stimulus check. Maybe consider smashing the like button if you guys enjoyed that, and at least know that there's a relative sense of hope, at least, or possibility, at least, that's currently out there with all of the stimulus programs, consider subscribing if you guys are brand new here for similar updates and also other finance topics that we might go back into. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend or just week if you're watching this later. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe through all, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.